Here's a quick podcast for all you true crime fans. The case of the missing Reese's. It was me at the store with my mouth. Motive? They're Reese's. What was I going to do? Stop myself? Tune in next time to see if I do it again. Spoiler, I will. Wow, that had everything. Reese's, suspense, Reese's.
Last podcast on the left is all about the facts. So when Southern New Hampshire University came on as a sponsor, it was time to do some research. Turns out they offer more than 200 online degree programs, and get this, criminal justice and psychology are some of the most popular. Classes have no set meeting times, and tuition rates are some of the lowest in the U.S. Want to learn even more about SNHU? Visit snhu.edu/last.
There's no place to escape to.
This is the last podcast.
On the left.
From your grave.
That's when the cannibalism started.
What was that?
Oh, Donald, is it true that they say I make plans for the country now?
I hope so. All right, everyone.
Donald, is it true?
Yes.
The country, I have to make plans for it here in the White House. So
If I had it my way, Melania would be president.
How about big goodness? You big goodness to everyone. What is it? Why am I so afraid? Why am I here?
Because you're doing a wonderful job.
Be based.
Be best.
Be based.
Be best.
That
Welcome to
is good.
Side Stories, everyone. I am Ben Kissel with Henry Zabrowski. Both of us recording live right here in Los Angeles.
My vagina is making more children that will become killers of many.
I don't know if Melania is going to do that any longer.
You don't think she's not going to have more kids?
I think she might be done.
You mean
I
to
think
tell
you're
me?
one and done. Maybe, yeah. I think you're good with Barrett.
You think that she can possibly keep her hands off of Trump? She could
A
possibly,
dreamboat like that?
Can't possibly just want to just pull down those big
Honestly,
saggy
man,
trouser of his and just ride that little thumbprint.
I love bread pudding, and theoretically, that's basically the food form of Donald Trump. So,
Yeah,
I
true.
get it. It just depends on whatever mood you're in.
Donald, what if I do a thing, say, everybody send Melania back where she come from?
Oh, we can't have that. We need her here. She's saving the country.
Someone please let me
I understand
leave.
that's what you want to have happen, but for the good of the people,
You think that she's holding things together?
I think she's the only good thing happening.
I don't know if she could be held responsible for a single thing. I think she sits somewhere just like
She's
in
taking-
frightened silence picking out shoes.
She's taking on cyberbullying. So
Her husband is the biggest
All right.
cyberbully.
All right. Well, speaking of bullies, we got a bunch of stuff to get to today. Number one, I do have to say, full disclosure, it was our buddy Cena's bachelor party this past weekend, and my brain, speaking of bread pudding, is that.
I am
It's
garbage.
It's gone. It does something with your serotonin levels, so you feel like worse than death.
What's nice about doing acid recently is that you have then since stopped being on acid, and you can always feel grateful for not being on acid any
The thing
longer.
is, what happened to me, I didn't realize someone was just like, stick out your tongue. And apparently when you do that in LA, it's not like, here's a vegetable.
No.
Here's a nice little carrot.
No.
It's always going to be a drug that you
It's
don't
acid.
realize you take. And
Or
then
ketamine. There's quite a bit of ketamine around, and we were watching people do it as well.
And then you just sit there in the bathroom, and then you realize the wall is like your next. It's like the best TV show you've ever seen, and then you just, I say, hunker down there for a little while.
Yeah, you hunkered in there.
Yeah,
We thought
hunkered
you
in there.
died.
Yeah, no,
it was
possible.
3:00 in the morning. So we were going to do a little bit of an update.
What do we
Some
got?
new information came in about the East Area Rapist, and all of it is nebulous. And so this is why it's hard time.
What does nebulous mean? You hear that word sometimes.
It seems to be a merman's underwear. Can I say that? That's what you'd call it?
So with the original Night Stalker, I mean, there hasn't been nothing's been too crushing yet, other than
the
he's
guy,
depressed and
what's his name? He's not speaking to anyone. He's real grim about it. He doesn't want to give anybody the benefit of the doubt of any sort of information. So this is why we don't normally cover current events on last podcast, because there's no conclusion.
Well, it moves slow. Once the guy gets arrested, then you got to go through the trial process. So we'll have a lot more when the process actually happens. If he doesn't just plea out and just takes the easy road, I hope there's a big long trial.
I think there definitely will, and I imagine, in my estimation, he's going to be close to a BTK, where he's going to be so proud of his workload. So
if you haven't seen BTK on the stand, folks, let me tell you this: it is one of the most upsetting things of all time. He's such an ass.
Well, he does a meticulous, unemotional recount of every single one of his crimes.
And then he says stuff like, I'm like your mother's age right now when I killed her. And it's like, what do you want me to do? Am I supposed to relate to you?
Exactly.
Like, what is happening?
Is this The View? No, you are. This guy's going to either say nothing and give no one any sort of satisfaction, or he'll spill his guts so everybody worships what a fucking evil genius he is. And we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, hopefully there's not too many. I will say, he doesn't have like the Bundy look. So I don't think there'll be that fan club that oftentimes surrounds people who are even just mildly attractive.
No. I don't think so. I don't think he's going to have any sort of sexual mystique going down the line, because he's got a golfer's face.
Yeah, 72-year-old golfer's face.
Yeah, big old, just a flat. He's flat. And we all now know about the micro penis, which I'm also certain doesn't make him like the happiest.
No.
You know what I mean? Because that seems to be the first thing. Can you imagine you spend all this time being a devious piece of shit and you think that you're wreaking havoc across the whole world, and the main thing people know about you is that you have a micro penis.
Right, yeah.
It's the first thing they know.
Well, in a strange way, usually I would say that's gossip. Let's not even talk about it. But in this case, it's kind of, it impacts the case.
It's a part of the case.
Yeah.
At some point, a police officer had to put him in another room where they took his pants down, and they had to be like, how small is it?
And then they have to classify it as, because micro, if I'm not mistaken, and I so rarely am, that's a medical term.
I believe micro
Don't they have
penis.
to call, because it's just like, no, that's just a tiny one. That's a micro.
A micro is if you take your pants off and it's just Vern Troyer's head.
Yeah.
Just right at the stuff. R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Didn't realize that he purposely drank himself to death.
Do you purposely drink yourself to death? I think you just drink yourself to death.
We are doing that, but we're doing it the low and slow way. We're doing it as it plays out over 45 years.
Yes, Guy Fieri, when he does a tour of, our bodies, because now he's shrunk himself down and he does a diners, drive-ins, and dives like Liver of Alcoholics version, he will be very happy with our slow and low process.
The rib-sticking livers of podcasters everywhere. And the other maybe update we could talk about is, honestly, I don't think we're going to be talking about incels again for a while until one of them kills another one and puts out a public manifesto. They've had enough attention.
Yeah, they've had enough.
But what I think is interesting about how you see all of these newspapers now, of course, all these legitimate sources, quote unquote, legitimate sources of news, all coming out being like the bizarre world of the incel.
I know, man.
And you're like, it's been known quantity on the internet for
years,
so long.
That's what aggravates me so much about these cases, when they do the breaking news and they just have to fill 24 hours with content, but they don't know anything.
No.
So they'll be like with that maniac douche in Toronto. They'll be like, no word if he's a terrorist, no idea what's going on with him. He seems to be a relatively nice guy, hates all women, and then they just breeze right through because
he ate ramen before driving to his crime. Did ramen have anything to do with purposeful auto-vehicular manslaughter? Let's take it to Dave. Dave, what do you think? And then it's going to be talking about ramen and the different styles of ramen.
Absolutely.
No, it really makes me mad. I think that that's the one thing about, we live on the internet. Especially us. It's like this generation of people, a group of people that we spent hours of our formative years watching beheadings by chainsaw on either Live Leak or seeing penises shredded on Rotten.com from back in the day.
Well, Rotten was really the first one. We were just talking about this with some buddies. Rotten, when that thing came out on the internet, it was like, I will say on a serious level, when it came to the Iraq War, they broke some really like very depressing, very brutal graphic photos of what the war was like, because over here it was like everything is going great.
Look at the beautiful missiles. I remember when they played when that first Iraq war happened, and it was like they showed the videos of the missiles shooting back and forth in night vision.
They never show when they land, though. And that's the game.
But that's what Rotten.com did, sort of. It's a hold up of being like, it's kind of what happened during the newspaper coverage of the Vietnam War, and the news where they would show actual bodies and stuff, so you could see the effects of war, and it was shown on the internet.
You got to see it, because if you don't see it, then you can't form an opinion, and you have to know how disgusting it is.
But I hate the sort of, I don't know what the term is. I think it's the condescension of newspapers, then show up on this like internet world of information, and they're like, it wasn't real until we discovered it. Like, incels weren't real until New York Times discovered it, that Reddit, all of the aggregation of information that happens on the internet, that 4chan is this like nebulous world of crack dealers and spies, when it's really just 11-year-olds.
Right. They live in their own little world. They live in their own little bubbles, and they've sort of, their whole thing is theoretically thinking that they're more intelligent than everybody, and in order to do that, they can't talk to anybody else, because then they'll realize that everyone else is either smarter or of equal intelligence, because theoretically all of us can know anything at any time because of our smartphones.
But that's a part of what they didn't. I mean, it's the aborted dream of the internet, right? Was that the internet was supposed to be like, oh, you can learn anything. I'm gonna learn how to make pesto, and then I also learned how to make my asshole fucking 2 times its size using a pine cone.
And I'm thinking, if the Earth isn't flat, then like, how am I even walking on it?
How am I walking on it if it's not flat? Come on. If it's some kind of ball, I would be falling over. But that's what they get. Obviously they have to co-opt it, and they say the internet's a child's toy. And
CNN literally broke news like, we've found incels, we've discovered incels, and it's like, meanwhile,
we've been ahead of the game.
Cave paintings? Yes, of course. We have always been ahead of the game, just like you, our listeners, because I know you are all probably more advanced than me when it comes to internet searching.
But when you're people out there, I mean, you can even send an message to us and tell us if you still do this. It's because like now, though, when I'm in my 30s, I can't spend that amount of time on 4chan anymore.
It's a lot for the brain. It's kind of devastating.
I can't see like dick blossoms.
No.
Don't even write the term dick blossom into a Google search, because none of it's good.
Well, that used to just be jokes back in the day. Be like, you got to check out Purple Waffle. Was it Purple Waffle?
Blue Waffle.
Blue Waffle. And I'm like, oh, what's that? And they're like, it's a brunch. And then you look at it and then they laugh at you. And we're like, that was disgusting.
Do you remember Lemon Party?
That was disgusting.
If you want to be happy for the rest of your life, don't make a pretty woman your wife. But we have some new news today that I guess we'll start talking about. Well, it's not new news. It's new old news, but it's nice to dive deep into it. But we wanted to talk about the crimes and arrest of Bruce McArthur, the new Toronto serial killer, that is very pleasant looking.
A couple of rough weeks for Toronto local news, huh?
I mean, Toronto
I guess this
had
is actually a happy story because he's caught. So
I mean, he was doing his reign of terror for what seems like possibly since 1975. Bruce McArthur was born in 1951. He spent his childhood, I love this report here, with his sister and parents in a sturdy-looking bungalow.
I get the feeling the author of this for the National Post wants to write about homes.
I think he wants to write about bungalows.
No, you're on the true crime watch. He's like, I will squeeze in the line sturdy-looking bungalow, which I think was also Henry's nickname in high school.
I think it's maybe a bet. An inner office bet is how many times can he get sturdy-looking bungalow.
What is this? How does it... Anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about.
But he was raised... Also, Canada's got a thing with small houses.
Yes.
Because Canada loves their cabins. They're all obsessed with their cabins. Everybody's working for the weekend in order to get back to the cabin.
Yeah, why not?
So to me, when I hear bungalow, I know LA renter's term for bungalow.
What is that?
Is a shed behind a house that you rent for $1,500 a month.
Oh, wow. Is it sturdy looking?
Most of the time, it is shanty looking. It is paltry looking.
So this dude, he was arrested. Let's just do this. So he was arrested in January, and now he's been charged officially with 8 counts of first-degree murder. And most of the slayings were of men who vanished from the city's gay village. So
now they call it Gay Village, which sounds like a fun place.
It's very on the nose.
It's very on the nose.
you could have gone with
normally it's called like Poopyville or Sneakers Up.
I don't know if Poopyville would be accurate. I think that's where like people like you and I would live. Because
Yes.
it's humorous.
Shafttown. There's
like
many
that.
different places. It's always some kind of fun name, but they just went straight for calling let's call it the Gay Village.
Gay Village.
So you can never be surprised.
Right.
Because I hate surprises. I tell you what, I gotta always plan my birthday myself.
Absolutely. So because of that, a lot of folks speculate that it was sort of like bygones be bygones, don't investigate too much.
Well,
it kind of falls into that.
We're seeing that
issue.
now.
Yeah.
We don't really know what happened. We know that it was. It started off with a bunch of missing. What seems to be either Middle Eastern men, mostly Middle Eastern men that went missing from this town. And most of the time, it's like what it seems like, which is coming out, is that the Toronto police, for the most part, used the excuse of they must have left town, which is what they also did with Robert Pickton, where they said the girls just left town, and it's just like they had jobs.
You know what? I just love the police department being like, what's the easiest answer for us? Not the most plausible. We'll just say they left town.
We have come to the conclusion that it is, in fact, Slender Man.
So the ages of these folks, it goes from people as young as 37 to as old as 59. So that's a pretty large range there.
It's also a type of victim that we don't see quite a bit. A full-grown man. A full-grown man's hard to do. So how it kind of went, it seemed to be, is that, old Bruce was married with a husband. He had a wife and he had kids up into the early 90s, and he lived with them. And essentially, he was doing pretty well. He was a sock salesman for a while until he got
salesman.
Yeah, which is also what he called himself on his Grindr.
Sock salesman.
No, yes, he would go.
Wow,
his name was Silver Fox Toronto on the website Man Jam, which is
I'll have to check that out.
My problem with the term Man Jam is that it seems to be like what I leave behind on the seat after I get up after the show.
You know, I was thinking you were going to go there, hoping you weren't, but then you did, and I agree with my assessment of hoping you didn't.
Is that attractive to men, the idea of Man Jam? Because I don't think so. I wouldn't want to eat. Like, I love women, but I wouldn't necessarily go to a website called Pussy Soup.
I could see you stumbling upon that one.
Maybe.
This podcast is brought to you by Squarespace. Squarespace is an all-in-one website platform that helps you stand out online. Yes, that's right. You don't have to smash your face with a hammer. You can just start a business. It's got everything you need on Squarespace, from securing your domain to building a professional site and showcasing your work all in one place. Let's say you want to show everybody how you can carve your ribs out of your lower abdomen so that you look more like a Ken doll. That's amazing. You can bring your vision to life with AI-powered design or curated templates, plus flexible editing tools that helps you create something that truly reflects your style, especially if you are somebody that is trying to corrupt the young men of America. That's what Squarespace is really going to help you. Squarespace makes it easy. It makes it easy for you to put all that together, and you just go to Squarespace and do it all. Thanks, Braden. Head to squarespace.com/left for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use offer code LEFT to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Is there anything better than a summer evening outdoors? Enjoy your space to the fullest with new greenery from Fast Growing Trees. I love a big, thick bush. Fast Growing Trees is America's largest, most trusted online nursery, and they can send me a big, thick bush any time of the day. It arrives at work. It arrives at my car. I can pinpoint on a Google map where it is. Send me a big, thick, brown bush. And they send it immediately when they have it, because sometimes the shaver comes to town. I remember one time I ordered a cherry wood tree from Fast Growing Trees, and my God, I couldn't cut it down no matter what my father told me to do. I had to lie to him about it, and next thing you know, I became the first president of the United States of America. And even you can become the first president of the United States of America with Fast Growing Trees. Right now, get up to half off select summer planting essentials, plus get an additional 20% off your first purchase with code LEFT at checkout. That's an additional 20% off at fastgrowingtrees.com with code LEFT at checkout. Offer is valid for a limited time only. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey there, everybody. Is your cell phone bill too much money? Are you getting that bill and you're like, hey, what is this? I can't believe for what? For 5G? Are you crazy right now? $100? I don't even barely got any bars when I'm just sitting in my living room, okay? You don't have to deal with that anymore. Are you ready for this? $15 a month. That's right, $15 a month on Mint Mobile. Yeah, baby. Get their wireless plan, because they're just sitting there on the T-Mobile 5G network, and it's just $15. Your whole life, you're just paying all this money every month. You're like, why? Where's it going? It's going to these phone companies that are robbing you. So go to Mint Mobile. Let them help you talk to your mom. So get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month. Go to mintmobile.com/LPOTL. That's mintmobile.com/LPOTL. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/LPOTL. That's it. There's no catch. Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, $180 for 12 months. Plan required, $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when the network is busy. Includes up to 20 gigabytes hotspot. Capable device required. Availability, speed, and coverage varies. See mintmobile.com. All right, I know what you're thinking. I like to go banking, but I don't want to give to these big old banks all the time that cater to the 1%. Well, go ahead and get yourself hooked up with Chime. It's banking built for you, not just those rich jerks. And they got thousands of fee-free ATMs, because why pay to get your own money? Chime is working for you, man. You get your Chime card, you're going to get travel perks, you're going to get into airport lounges, you're going to get those chicken thighs. You know, every time I go to an airport lounge, I get chicken thighs. And you know what I say whenever I see a plate of chicken thighs? Give me more. Chime's going to get you those chicken thighs in these lounges, all right? Sure, they could serve other types of meat, but why would you when chicken thighs are so delicious? Chime is not just smarter banking, it's the most rewarding way to bank. Join the millions who are already banking fee-free today. Head to chime.com/left. That's chime.com/left. It only takes a few minutes to sign up. Chime is a fintech, not a bank. Banking services for Chime Card provided by Chime's bank partners. Optional products and services may have fees or charges. Stated cashback for Chime Prime only. No minimum balance required. For more information on travel perks, go to chime.com/disclosures.
But go back up here. I want to read this planters line, unless you were holding on to it.
Oh, yeah.
This was the interesting thing. Human remains belonging to at least 7 of these folks, his victims, had been found in planters at a Leaside home linked to McCarthy's work as a landscaper. So evidently he was working as a landscaper as well.
Hey, Bruce, what you doing out there out in the field? There's like, I'm planting dude trees.
He is funny. Bruce is a funny guy.
He is a funny guy.
Come to find out, he's actually just extremely honest.
Yes, very, very honest.
So that was kind of how he got that. What the nickname was, the potted plant killer, for a little while,
which is silly.
Which is silly. But how the hell? First of all, like, how big are these potted plants?
We cut
How
them
much
up.
can you put in? How much person could you fit into a potted plant?
He put a whole 49-year-old dude in there. What he would do is he would chop them up, and then when he was planting out these huge planters, like people have big houses, and so he was doing like fairly advanced lawn care for people. And then as he was planting the things, he literally would go like back to his truck, get his hands in the feet and all the things that he cut up and probably in a big tarp, threw them in the bottom of the plant and dug it up, and apparently won a hand fucking surface.
Oh,
and so you're just out there, and all of a sudden a hand pops up out of the dirt, and you're like, is that Jesus Christ? I better dig him out. And then you get out there and it's fucking just more body parts.
Yeah, well, it might have a similar complexion to what Jesus Christ had there.
Yes, thank you, Kissel.
Yes, absolutely. That is crazy. So was that what started the cops being like, we better start sniffing around these potted plants? Because if you find one hand, I'm just going to say there's a much higher chance you find 6 more.
Looking for 2. obviously we're going to be covering this as more things come out, but what it seems to be was that in December of 2017 there was a suspected serial killer in Gay Village, and he was actually put as he was on a suspect list for a little bit of time.
Okay.
And what happens here is, though, because the case is unfolding, there's a lot of stuff that the cops haven't answered yet of why they finally decided that he was the specific suspect. There's still evidence that's coming out. A part of what they had to do was identify all these men and kind of coerce it all together. So eventually they were trying to say that there was going to be a serial killer in December 2017, and then they came out and said no, there's no serial killer, because they didn't want to have to deal with the baggage of what happens when you say you have a serial killer, because then all the fucking feds have to come out of the woodwork and do all this extra shit.
A bunch of nerds like people like us come to solve the crime for them, and then we just end up sort of like Salem witchcrafting, like everyone we see, be like, you did it, prove me wrong.
Yes.
So I want to go back to that one part here where it talks about these murders took place. I didn't quite realize it was 75 to 78. That was the majority of the murders.
These are all new murders. These
are new discoveries.
Yes, these discoveries are new. What they're trying to figure out is whether or not they can attach cold cases from 75 to 86 to him, because what they're
his number could go much higher.
Much higher. Well, if it's true, because that's a part of what it is that if he's killed 7 people in the last couple of years since 2012,
right,
and then he must have killed before, unless something snapped in him later in life.
Right.
In 2001, he was arrested for beating up a male sex worker with a pipe.
Okay.
And when he turned himself in, and he said, I don't know why I did this. I don't know what came over me. So they don't know whether or not that was a part of it. He was in good standings. He was a part of the BDSM community in Toronto. He used to go to this place called Zipper's Cell Block.
Oh my goodness.
He would go very intense.
I think he's going to a similar place now.
Yeah.
Zipper's Cell Block.
Yes, and he was known as Santa because he looked like Santa, and a part of his gig was
I would wonder what some of the gifts were that he was passing.
Fucking
get into
ropey sheets of cum.
Oh my goodness! Give me coal instead, please. I can't deal with all this.
What am I going to do with all this cum? I can't regift it.
All right, so you want. I guess just from my perspective, I would want him to just be guilty of all these crimes, just so we can get closure. And I just don't like the idea of multiple serial killers just kind of roaming around.
Well, it's really scary. Part of that is, again, I think we talked about last time how we were wondering if constant surveillance is what's going to allow the serial killer to disappear, but maybe it doesn't. Maybe it just depends on how deep they go and how I think that one thing that Earons did show was that it really depends on the gaping need of the killers for attention.
For attention. That's what got BTK caught up again.
Yes, because it depends on if you want the claim for your crime. So when it seemed in case of Bruce McArthur,
I don't think that he did. Earons, I don't think did.
No,
I think he just wanted to be a miserable old man.
I think that I think that we'll see that he is pleased with the fact that he went for so many years without being caught. I think that he views himself as superior to mankind, much like Dennis Rader, who was like, I'm smarter than everybody else, and I'm going to show them how much smarter I am than everybody else.
Right.
But what
they never are, though. Isn't that interesting?
No, they're not. They always get fucking caught because you have to be a fucking moron to kill somebody, because you just do what's best to show everybody that you're wrong by creating a podcast that ends up paying your bills.
Wow. I'm looking further at Bruce McArthur's face, and now I see the Santa.
Oh yeah, he's a Santa. He's cute.
See the zipper.
But what he would do, apparently, so there are things that are coming out, is that he had a BTS. He had a BDSM streak.
Okay.
And that one guy was talking about how he would tie him up in these prone positions with the ass up, back, his hands behind his back, face down into the carpet, and that's how they were insinuating that's how they found some victims back in the 1970s, which is why they think that he may be connected to it. They also somehow, when they were looking for the identity of one of the victims,
what's interesting, and just to that point, it's like people that are very good at tying ropes. It's like Boy Scouts. No, BDSM clubs.
And he's like, all right.
Great guy to have on a mountain with you.
Well, honestly, it is a great guy to have him out with him. Also, he loves punishment so much that he will do all the hard climbs.
Yeah, he'll be like a Sherpa type. He'll take all the...
He'll get all the way out there.
Why not?
There's a lot of stuff to cover on this. So, 2001. So, basically what also turns out is that he may be taking a bunch of pictures. He had a couple of other lovers that said that he was looking for submissive men. And it's a part of what happens in the BDSM community is that in order to have a healthy BDSM community, you have to have a lot of trust. Because the part is you have to trust that this person's not going to fucking choke me to death when my hands are tied to my feet.
And again, not maligning any kind of kink play, consensual kink play, wonderful stuff. Have a lot of fun with your life. But obviously this man did not agree to the contract.
Well, what happened was, and the way they ended up getting him, and finally they had him under surveillance, and they watched a young man go into his apartment, and finally they're like, we've had enough of this shenanigans. And they went in there and they found the dude completely trussed up, but he had yet to have done anything to him, and then they arrested him. Hopefully they untied the dude that they left behind.
I hope they would do that first.
I'd like to think though, they're like, or he was like, don't tie me up yet.
Yeah, maybe.
Let me stay like this, please.
Who knows?
But there's still.
I think even if he does say that at this point, I say we got to untie you, sir. I don't want to. I'm not again. You got it, but I got to do this right now.
I'm trying to think, because this comes from the last bit of information I have is from the Toronto Star. All of this kind of came out essentially a month ago. There was also this whole other thing that they yada over called Project Houston, which is in November 2012. Toronto police assembled a task force called Project Houston to search for 3 missing men from the gay village. It was created because Toronto police at one time believed Skandaraj Navaratnam, who ended up being one of the victims of Bruce McArthur, may have met with foul play 3 years after he disappeared. This stemmed from a tip about an online cannibalism ring playing a role in his death.
Kind of going to that cannibal cop case that we had there in New York City, where the guy was on those forums, and it does get it gets pretty roasty.
Yeah, it gets definitely pretty roasty.
They're pretty. They talk. It's barbecue. It's barbecue talk. But then there's a person.
There's a dude
that is the. That
or
is
you're
the
talking about his goddamn wife. So now with the investigation is going to all of the different places where he used to do landscaping.
Okay.
And they're going to have to go. It's something like 30 different properties where they have to go and dig up all these places, and they're having problems with the people that were clients of his, or basically being like, don't come look on my land. I don't want you to come and do this shit. And they're like, well, we have to. And so they have to go dig up all these places just looking for bodies. And they were just trying to have a nice lawn.
Yeah, they, so you could maybe spin it into something like a resort, sort of a macabre hotel.
Yeah.
But I would say the vast majority of people aren't thrilled with the idea of just kind of playing football on grass and right beneath them is just a rotting corpse.
I mean, I guess
but
not.
Then do you want to find out if that is the case, or do you just want to, do you want that information or not? That's kind of the key question.
Is it weird to say that I don't, but not, I mean, obviously not for me. It's probably not weird to say I don't really care. I imagine I would live on haunted ground anyway. I feel like this is where we live in Los Angeles and New York. We're probably surrounded by dead bodies.
Man, it's just got to depend on what it is. If it's like a bunch of child murder, I think that might be traumatizing.
It would be pretty traumatizing.
But I don't know what, because
a fire with a house filled with nuns. That's kind of hot.
That's kind of crazy.
That's kind of fun. I would do that. I would be into like where President Garfield died.
Yeah, all that
Did
historic
he get shot?
stuff. I don't know.
Was he one that assassinated?
I think they all just died in the tub.
Was President Harrison assassinated?
No, he got all sick because he's an idiot.
Grover Cleveland.
I don't know what happened. I think again, most of them just die like on the golf course next to a train or in a tub. I don't know why, but they're old and that's what they do.
Yeah, I mean, I say let them die.
Have a little fun with your life.
Let them die.
So I guess with this case, we're going to continue to follow it. The more that they go and excavate potential bodies, hoping that this list ends at 8, but it looks like they have a bunch of old cases they want to tie him to. I don't know if they have the DNA from the 70s. That might be a little bit tricky to get.
I mean, I don't know. And it depends on what the Canadian police were doing at the time. Because a lot of again, it's another sort of example of this is the front of Zipper's cell block.
And I mean, they got the American flag, they got the Canadian flag, they got the Pride flag. From the outside, it says "Welcome World." That's as far as places with the term cell block in them. That looks fairly welcoming.
Yeah, and his nickname was Snoppy as a boy.
Was what?
Yeah, and when he was a little kid, he moved
Snoppy?
to. Yeah, his name was Snoppy as a little boy.
But what does that imply?
I don't know.
What kind of personality trait or physical feature would you have to be called Snoppy?
I don't know, big old droopy cock, I guess. I don't know what all the boys are doing.
Well, then I don't think he would earn that nickname.
I don't know, but it just seems like, again, when you read about his past, everyone says the same thing. We would never imagine that Bruce murdered everybody. He was the fun guy. He would go and he would buy gifts for everybody, take people out to eat. He was very gregarious. He was friendly.
So it's different than the original Night Stalker, where everyone everyone's like, he was an ass.
Yes, this guy.
So he was actually living up to that trope that I think is way too common, by the way, that it's just the nice neighbor next door who's the serial killer. I think that's rare.
I think it is rare. I think a lot of times it also depends on the level of. It seems like maybe he could have snapped later in life. And it also depends on how much he gets off on acting like a nice guy when he knows for a fact he's going to chain up a bunch of dudes and beat them to death.
Yeah, I guess that's what do you call that? The old yin yang there.
But he's rented a 3-bedroom apartment with him and his buddy, and his son also lived there. And he would just leave out these collages that he would make of pictures of East Indian men with erections. And he just left them around. His son found them, and he was like, yeah, that's a little bit of my life. And then they went, and apparently we're going to find out is that one of the victims was identified by releasing a picture that the police would not reveal where the picture came from. And it seems to be a part of what may have connected Bruce McArthur to all of these crimes is that I think that he took a bunch of pictures of victims.
That is your Dahmer type. Well, and of course, going back, not to beat to death the term BTK, the guy BTK, but yeah, a lot of times it's with the pictures, especially if it's to go back and to use for sexual pleasure.
But these dudes were big dudes.
Yeah,
and so was he.
These guys, yes, I mean, again, going back to what you were saying, it is rare to get like grown dudes. I mean,
I also wonder why he murdered some and some he just had sex with. There was a bunch that there were several people who said that they had straight up either normal sex or normal BDSM sex with him without it getting too intense. But then a couple of other people came forward and said, I had some sex with him and it got really very intense. And he was like choking me and smashing my head against the wall.
I wonder if it was an accident the first time.
I mean, that's what we learned with John Wayne Gacy, right? Is that the first murder was an accident, and then once you pop it, and then what can you do? Because now it's just like, no, my fucking most illicit.
Well, I mean, honestly, that is the big hurdle, right? Because you kill one person, you're going to jail for life. You kill 8 people, you're going to jail for life. There's only so much you can get. So who knows? But yeah, all right. Well, we'll keep on following this story the more that we know.
We definitely are. I am very interested in only just because this is, I mean, in the end of we constantly talk about are there going to be more big hitters? Like in our lifespans, like are we going to see more serial murder? It seems to be happening. This is an example of it.
You mentioned technology and surveillance. We're extremely surveilled. It's a police state, ladies and gentlemen, and I let people know when we were pulled over by the LAPD randomly.
And also when you didn't realize you were on acid. Yeah. That was a thing too. That was a part of that outrage.
That was the man. I wish I would have known because I kept on saying like all night. I was like, man, I feel like I'm tripping. I didn't take any acid. And then the next morning, our friend who was there was like, I said that same thing again. I was like, I didn't take any acid. He's like, dude, you took like, yeah,
you definitely
you got
did.
like gave it a bunch. But anyway, back to the surveillance thing. We're seeing, or perhaps we're seeing more spree kills because you can't serial kill any longer.
Maybe not.
You got to do what like a Paddock did in Las Vegas.
Well, we'll see what happens.
Or the Pulse nightclub.
We'll see what happens. But I also then, maybe we're also in another even weirder cycle where people would do serial killers will do serial murder just to get the attention of being a serial killer. Just to have a podcast based upon their life. How many jokes I've seen alone. Yeah. People saying like, yeah, I kill people just to be on this podcast on the left. And you're like, well, what if that slowly becomes not ironic and starts becoming real?
I think let's not do that. That's number one.
Come on, guys.
I don't know. Yeah,
another weird
like it's very difficult.
Another weird factoid is that Todd is the name of Bruce McArthur's son in Toronto.
Okay.
And he was recently arrested for he is obsessed with doing obscene phone calls to random numbers. That he was calling up women from the phone book and being like, I want to eat your fucking shit. I want you to shit in my mouth. And talking about like eating their shit and drinking their piss and fucking them.
But it's like you have a cell phone most likely. You can't do that again. Like
Toronto has payphones.
Oh, okay. So he was doing it from the payphones.
Old school.
All right.
You got to keep it old school back in the day because that's how it is. That's how you get the real pleasure of it is you get to be in a booth, you get to smell the piss, and now you're smelling piss and you're thinking about piss, and you're calling somebody and asking about their piss, and she's like, stop it. But she could also maybe be on the bathroom when she answers the phone, and then you know it because you kind of you like hear a little bit of
You know what? I'm just going to say you're overthinking that.
Okay.
All right. Well, we will keep you up to date. Bruce McArthur. Thank God he is off the streets and caught. I mean, it's been a lot of captures. We don't know what we'll talk about next week, but I am sure the world shall provide.
I say again, tell us. We've been getting people sending stuff to us to speak about. We'll start going through that information. We would love to hear what you're interested in hearing about. There's things that slide under the radar. I'd like to do some more conspiracy theory stuff as well. I was trying to read into QAnon. Do you know that QAnon goes all the way down to they believe that the Democrats have access to an AI that is trying to subvert all of it? Like, it goes down that stupid.
The AI war is very real. We could cover that.
The AI war, I welcome them.
And I just released it on that bonus Top Hat episode with the Space Force, Donald Trump talking.
Dude.
It's so ridiculous, but it's, a sixth branch of the government, a Space Force type thing. It's been talked about for many years. AI
it wasn't given as stupid of a name before.
No, it's extra dumb when he says it, because he literally said, we're big in space. We're big in space. What does that even mean?
It means nothing.
But
we're actually technically not allowed to own anything.
Right.
Do we own the moon? Does America own the moon?
I think there's like an agreement that no one can own the moon, including Pizza Hut, because remember back in the day when pizza was like, we're going to project an advertisement on the moon, and then there was a universal consensus that said we don't want to cheapen the moon like NASCAR.
Not yet.
Oh my, it will be happening. So the AI stuff, man, that's the next level.
I'll be a jester for them. I don't give a shit.
It's just gonna
give them a shot, man.
The problem is if we do just program them with the U.S. laws, everything's illegal. So,
but we were talking to some,
all just be arrested.
But I thought it was kind of cool that we had friends that were talking about how AI can also branch into a weird world where you can make them hyper. They're super intelligent. They can access anything they want with their CPU or whatever it is, their computer part of it. But they are supposed to only do menial tasks. Like, you have something that is essentially a superhuman robot that has access to all the knowledge that is available, but is just a Roomba.
Yeah.
Man, it's fun.
All right. Well, actually, you know what? That's a very good potential topic for next week. So
I like that shit.
Let us know what you want to talk about. Henry Loves You on Twitter and Dr. Fantasty Instagram.
Yep.
Ben Kissel Instagram. Ben Kissel1 on Instagram and Ben Kissel on Twitter.
And if you have any suggestions or if you have any questions, leave the complaints to Reddit. I would say
the Reddit page is actually fairly nice. I don't know. I just everyone is depressed. There was just a study that said 45% of people under 25 are contemplating suicide on a regular basis, and it's like I totally get it. Let's just be nicer.
But a part of our acid conversation that I really started seeping down my head is that because the internet is of our subconscious, and if 45% of us are, if 45% of humankind are depressed, essentially we are making the internet depressed.
Yes, that's a good point.
We're doing it on purpose.
It is our subconscious.
So if you have something to say, email us at thelastpodcastnetwork@gmail.com. And again, it's so good. I didn't even say it. Kissel's here in the studio with me here in LA.
I mentioned that up top.
Yeah, did I?
I mentioned how we were in Los Angeles.
Oh, wow, yeah.
We got a live show with the Echoplex tonight.
Yeah, and I farted right on your pocket.
Yes, you did.
That's what's kind of nice to be in the same room.
Yeah, that was kind of exciting.
Hail Satan and Triple L. Is that what we said the last time? Live, love, and learn?
I prefer if it doesn't stick around.
It doesn't have to.
Okay. Hail yourselves, everyone.
See you, fuckers.
And I'm Congratulations. Talk to you soon.
Tires matter. They're the only part of your vehicle that touches the road. Tread confidently with new tires from Tire Rack. Whether you're looking for expert recommendations or know exactly what you want, Tire Rack makes it easy. Fast, free shipping, free road hazard protection, and convenient installation options. Go to TireRack.com to see tire test results, tire ratings, and consumer reviews, and be sure to check out all the special offers. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.
Pacifico, the crisp Mexican lager that wasn't brewed to blend in. We were made for the moments when you live like you mean it. When you don't just hear the music, you feel it. When you let the bonfire burn into the night and find places you'd never spot on a map. So when the moment calls, choose to reach for the bright yellow can. Choose yellow. Choose Pacifico. 21 plus. Discover responsibly. Pacifico Clara Beer. Imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois.